Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis, and I hope everybody is having a great day or a great night wherever you guys are watching this. Nonetheless, today we are going to be talking about how you could buy one Bitcoin for under $100. So, overall, okay, I just want to really quickly make the assumption that one, we are actually not talking about buying Bitcoin. We are talking about an asset that, in my opinion, will hit the price of Bitcoin, and I'm going to be addressing why. So with that in mind, if you guys can hit that like button, it does help the channel grow immensely. A lot of you are not subscribed as well, so if you guys can hit that subscribe button, if you guys enjoy the video, maybe at some point in time during the video, you guys can hit that subscribe button because it does help the channel. Now, with that in mind, let's dive in and let's talk about it. So, obviously, Bitcoin did not run to $30,000 to all the way up to almost $70,000 in a short amount of time. This has been a process going all the way back to 2009. Of course, CoinMarketCap only has price data going back to 2013, but we do know that Bitcoin, was at the cent to dollar figure amounts back in time. But if we go back as far as the price data shows on CoinMarketCap, we do see going all the way back to like roughly $90 to even down to $70 in 2013. Fast forward 9 years later, and we are at $70,000. This is a pretty significant price jump, right? I mean, obviously, that is a massive ROI. But let's talk about an asset that is very similar to Bitcoin in the sense of tokenomics, but also much more efficient in terms of its utility grade. So, enter in Quant, aka QNT. I've been talking to you guys about this for a little bit of time. Obviously, the price action has been jumping around for a while now. I first talked to you guys about Quant when it was $30, $40, and I've talked all the way up to about $400, and I still talk about Quant because it is extremely undervalued no matter what price it is. The reason why I say this is because not only does QNT have 33% less supply than Bitcoin, yes, you heard that right, 33% less supply than Bitcoin, it is also extremely early in its stages still. I go back 3 months and I show you guys the 3 month span of how fast we've actually been growing in terms of total addresses. We go look at the total addresses for Bitcoin. We are at 40.9 million total addresses for Bitcoin. Quant is at 50.2K. 33% less supply, and it has a ton of utility. What is the utility behind Quant essentially? Well, it is interoperability. Let's dive in and let's talk about this. So first off, I take you back to May 12th, 2021. We see here from Swift. Swift wants to be trusted party for cross-border CBDC payments, creating a DLT network. Pretty interesting. Why would a DLT network need to be created? Well, it's simple. All right, don't be, rude. Don't, acknowledge the fact that, there's multiple layer 1 networks within this market that are most likely going to be utilized as a DLT network for payments. It's not going to be, a one size fits all essentially. Okay? If you look at things around DLTs, almost every single one of these assets will be utilized in their proper form, but by different entities. And what I mean by that is a lot of people get the misconception around crypto saying XRP is going to be utilized for everything. No. These networks will all grasp a large percentage of market share value, but they will all be utilized by different entities, meaning that they will all need to be able to have that interconnectivity, aka interoperability, to communicate with one another and send messaging formats in terms of payments, in terms of NFTs, whatever the case may be. Data will have to be able to be transacted between each, DLT. How do we get that? Well, it's through interoperability. But of course, we do see down here, we look forward to actively supporting our community on issues related to CBDCs and driving responsible innovation aligned with our strategic vision for instant end-to-end transactions. This is coming. This is happening right now. We are seeing CBDCs being built out. We are seeing cross-border payments in general being spotlighted. And we are seeing instant settlement being the key initiative behind a lot of this. Of course, I do foresee that most likely, becoming a realistic thing by around the 2025 to 2030 timeframe, where we do see a large percentage of the global share value being an instant payment settlement system, essentially transacting over this new legacy system that we are ushering into. And what I mean by a new legacy system is it's essentially a reskinned version of the legacy system. It's an upgrade, if you will, through an API plug-and-play format. We will talk about that here shortly. But again, their focus areas, you guys can see their focus areas down here. It is, an interoperability network. There are 4 interest areas that Swift plans to explore, with the initial focus on providing cross-network support. In other words, it aims to enable interoperability between CBDC and non-CBDC payment networks, as well as digital asset networks. Now, again, they are mentioning Accenture here. They are mentioning, this massive giant that's been in, crypto for a while. I've talked to you guys about Accenture before in terms of, connections with Ripple. For me, we really kind of look at, a few things. So in terms of interoperability, they want something that has been proven. The proven name here is Quant. Quant has direct partnerships with large entities that is interconnected with already 500 plus banks. I've talked to you guys about this with SIA. I've talked to you guys about this with even Oracle. There's large names, working with Quant. To me, the way that I look at things, right? So when we look at these networks, large percentages of the global cross-border payment scheme, which, by the way, the FX market rates is like $6 trillion per day being transacted with. But it's extremely inefficient because of the cost, the speed in which they are settled, and of course, failure rates, transparency. There's a lot of issues that are, right now plaguing the entire settlement system that we utilize on a day-to-day basis, aka Swift network, if you will. Now, there's a ton of money to be had here, and there's a ton of money to focus on, but we are definitely seeing a major shift into this market. We actually just here going back 6 hours ago, Swift in cross-border CBDC interoperability trial with Capgemini. I've talked to you guys about this Capgemini discussion with Swift in terms of XRP. Talked about it a little bit with you guys. Again, when we look at a lot of this stuff and we kind of connect the dots with other assets, like for example Ripple, and with XRP and stuff with on-demand liquidity, it's still the question still arises: where are we going to have that interoperability between the legacy traditional systems and the future digital systems, aka DLTs? There's only one player that is distinctively doing this. And I've talked to you guys about Quant with Ripple, the connections that we do see in terms of like the Digital Pound Foundation. They've been working together for a little bit of time. And the major issue is interoperability in terms of the broader spectrum behind CBDCs. We do see a bigger CBDC challenge for cross-border payments, inaccurate bank information, the need to use correspondent banks, anti-money laundering queries as well. So when we look at things right now, we do here. So while Swift has rightfully identified issues with CBDC interoperability, perhaps there are even more fundamental challenges. A lot of these challenges are actually solved through utilizing the proper technology. I've talked to you guys about how Ripple and even Hedera are doing some pretty significant things within cross-border payments, even Stellar Lumens. A lot of these assets are doing incredible things within crypto. But there still is one clear winner to me, and that is Quant. We do see here the future of money gearing up for central bank digital currencies. Honestly, this goes back to February, and this is from the IMF. Since its founding in 1961, the Council has made important contributions to strategic, political, and economic policy debates. Those debates have served us well, helping us to test the boundaries of our thinking and, be better prepared for what lies ahead. So today we aim to test our thinking again. We have, moved beyond conceptual discussions of CBDCs, and we are now in the phase of experimentation. This is moving very, very fast. We do see here, all told, around 100 countries are exploring CBDCs at one level or another, some research and some testing, and few already contributing CBDC to the public, or distributing CBDCs to the public, sorry. And yeah, we are moving extremely fast, and I've talked to you guys about this. A lot of the inflationary concepts around the economic structure of the global economy has streamlined the process of getting to a CBDC, driven world. Now, I've always said, yes, I support wholesale. I don't support retail. I've said it many times on this channel. I'm sure that you guys are probably tired of me saying it. Essentially, I just still support fiat currency for the retail individual. I think that settlement banks and things like that should definitely 100% be utilizing commercial stablecoins or CBDCs, and I've discussed this. But we do see our DLT-based enhancement of cross-border payment efficiency, a legal and regulatory perspective. And this really kind of breaks down exactly where we are at in terms of a DLT-based payment infrastructure for the global payment, economy. But there's, of course, a few things. And we do see here, an interoperability platform connecting multiple closed-loop and proprietary banking systems. That's where we are getting to. This massive platform that will essentially be the interconnectivity bridge for everything. We do here, as such, we identify and outline concepts for use cases where DLT is potentially improving the efficiency of cross-border payments, namely a best execution DLT, a DLT application for a network or central banks, a DLT as an anti-money laundering / know your customer utility, as well as DLT arrangements for an identified platform, a small payments platform, and finally, what I just told you guys. When we are talking about where we are right now, I think that we are in the very early stages of this. I've always said that we are extremely early in crypto, and I still believe that 100%, because when we look at things happening right now around the world, I think that inflation has been getting out of control 100%, which kind of ushers in the idea on like how could we combat this. And yesterday I talked to you guys a little bit about CBDCs and how we can combat inflation with CBDCs, essentially focusing on micro sectors within the economy to really kind of streamline the gap between inflation. That way, socioeconomic structures do not get completely decimated by inflationary acknowledgments and steps to actually draw back inflation. Because when you are trying to combat inflation, everything gets decimated. But if you could focus on one specific sector and area, then you can kind of save face for everything else besides that area, which I do kind of focus on, and I do like the idea of having that option, especially in terms of the economy. Now we do see here, data flow in a typical DLT legacy interoperability framework. Now here's the centerpiece, right? This is any blockchain network. You do see the world's data sources, the centralized Oracle network over here, and then the legacy systems. Now this would be something more like, Chainlink, if you will. Which, again, do I stack Chainlink? 100%. Do I think that Chainlink is going to be the next Bitcoin? No, I don't. And it's not because I'm biased, not because I hold more Quant than Link. I actually hold more Link right now than Quant, funny enough. But when we look at things happening around, the interoperability area, oracles have been proven to not be the chosen one. API gateways are actually more efficient and more suitable for the legacy systems. But this is essentially how we do get to that interoperability area. The way that I look at it is Quant will essentially be the choice here. We do see here, Overledger Network is a scalable P2P network with layer 2 payment channels, enterprise and institutional grade multi-chain oracles. So you still get the Oracle grade, technology here, but you could also just utilize API gateways, connect any network to any network at scale without overhead or limits, treaty contracts, deploy, query, and execute multi-chain smart contracts, and then create applications that deploy and connect across multiple blockchains. The best part about this is that this is through an API gateway that is 3 lines of code. You've heard that right. 3 lines of code, and this is all set up and interconnected. You will have the option of transacting data, okay, and making payments across any network, interconnecting data systems, and I mean everything. This is applications, data systems, payment systems, settlements, all of it interconnected over the Overledger. Now, the Overledger operating system is what Quant essentially is the power source of. QNT is the token behind all of this. It's not Overledger. QNT does not derive value the same way that Overledger essentially will. QNT is going to be the token that you need to hold and transact within the Overledger to actually utilize this network. Now, the funny thing is that a lot of people think that QNT won't reach high numbers because they don't technically need QNT, but they do. It is 100% a mandatory token to utilize the Overledger network. But also, as more scale flows in, more of the QNT tokens actually have to be held, which means a supply shock will eventually happen around Quant. Now, like I've said, in terms of Overledger, in terms of everything happening around this, it's not just focused on cross-border payments and the payments system. This is focused on everything. Okay, this is everything being interconnected, similar to where we see world's data sources. Right, this is everything. You're looking at nearly everything that we utilize on a day-to-day basis that is transacting any sort of data in general. This is why I always look at the Internet of Things and the Internet of Value. All of this, okay, everything that we do on a day-to-day basis. We look at our mobile phone, right? You send a message, you receive a message, you send a payment, you receive a payment. No matter what the case may be, even in healthcare, okay? Healthcare is a huge area. I actually have it open over here, so 3 use cases for blockchain in healthcare. There's a few here: healthcare data security, computing and Internet of Things. And a lot of this actually focuses on, EHRS and healthcare big data. This is all through interoperability. Interoperability is a huge key area for this as well. This is also where Quant really kind of got its major start. Gilbert Verdian, CEO, was working in healthcare, and he's seen a lot of issues within interoperability as well. It's a very slow process. I mean, I'm sure that a lot of you have probably dealt with this as well when you go to the doctor or anything. It's a terrible process, and it needs to be streamlined. A lot of these networks that we utilize on a day-to-day basis are just not keeping up with the demand anymore. So when we talk about something like Quant, I could definitely foresee Quant having a large market share value, especially within crypto. I mean, when we look at Bitcoin has roughly right now $558.8 billion market cap. We know that the market cap of Bitcoin has hit $1 trillion plus. This is why when I look at things like even this article that was just recently written yesterday, Pharmaceutical Blockchain Market 2022 is driven by increasing implementation of blockchain as a service, BAS, and growing need for transparent and unalterable, distributed ledger technology. This is still, at the end of the day, going to need interoperability. All of this relies on one key thing: interoperability. Increase in cybercrimes and data thefts and need for data interoperability. Less than 10% of healthcare and pharmaceutical organizations regularly share medical data with providers outside of their organization. The lack of interoperability of this data and limited linkage between the healthcare organizations makes it difficult to transmit, retrieve, and analyze data. This is why interoperability as a utility is such a crucial area to focus on. We are sitting at an $817 million market cap. Are we the most undervalued asset? Absolutely not. But when we look at something like Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin has... All right, so really quick, to summarize Bitcoin in terms of the value behind it. The value behind Bitcoin is just a speculative store of value. Yes, you can make payments with it in terms of the Bitcoin Lightning Network. That's great and all, but ultimately it's not a major stepping stone in terms of a utility-driven, asset. When we look at something like Quant is essentially making every single other crypto asset in this space workable. What does that mean? Well, a lot of these DLTs and a lot of these use cases will just not be adopted in because of, again, the lack of interoperability. You still need that linkage between all of these networks for them to actually be utilized the way that they are properly supposed to be. That's where Quant comes in. I don't think that people are really seeing the vision behind Quant. I mean, I foresee it. I could definitely see where this comes into play. I mean, this in terms of software, if you will, or in terms of just a massive network, is going to unlock the potential that crypto has been waiting for a very long time. This is the key that will drive mass adoption of a lot of these networks and these use cases around crypto in general. This is why I'm focused on Quant. This is why I continue to accumulate Quant, no matter what the price is, because under 4 digits in terms of a price point is extremely undervalued to me. I just foresee the future of Quant being extremely massive. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed this video, you already know, hit that like button, subscribe, turn notifications on to never miss a future update. And as always, I hope that you all have a beautiful day or a beautiful night. Wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, this has been Nick. Peace out, guys.